back, everybody. You know, I've been trying to do some research on something about the Rh negative factor and having children that are positive to an Rh negative mother. I know that we have the RhoGAM shot and the health issues that we had prior to that. I had a grandmother who lost 4 babies. She had the first one, which was fine. But the rest of the babies after that all died in utero, about 7 months pregnant. But besides those kind of health issues, what I'm really curious about is there long-term effects, even when a mother has the RhoGAM shot? Is there long-term effects for the kids that are born who have Rh negative father, an Rh negative mother and an Rh positive father? Is there health issues? The reason why I'm curious about this is I have 4 children. My first child, who is a positive, still seemed to have a lot of health issues as she grew. She's got eczema, she has colitis, she has attention deficit, quite severe. My second child is negative, but with him, he ended up having jaundice. And I thought, well, this shouldn't have happened because he's negative, so he's compatible with me. But a twist of fate happened with him. His father is AB negative, and I'm AB positive, and I am O negative. And my son should, out of all possibilities, should not have been AB negative, but he ended up being that. And so they actually call that ABO incompatibility. It's extremely rare, but what the symptoms happen with that. So it's the same thing. I end up putting antibodies against him, even though he was a negative, and they end up being jaundice babies. And again, he ended up having different health issues as well throughout his life. But then we get to my third and my fourth child. Both were positive, and both have had severe allergies. Now, of course, this could be just my genetics in my family. It could be just that I have bad genetics, so I am cognizant of that. But it also could be a long line of actually mixing these two bloodlines. So, I mean, I've done a lot of research. I've looked a lot, and I can't seem to find any scientific studies on this, which is very disappointing. But I do find a lot of testimonials, which is different, of people who have the same experience. Now, let me bring you back to my last child, who is now 24 years old. And she was at 22 years old diagnosed with MS, and does have a lot of anxiety disorder and stuff like that. So there really seems to be something that happens. And even though I got the RhoGAM every time, it seems like my kids still seem to have a layover effect from the incompatibility between these two bloodlines. As I said, I've not been able to find anything, and I'm hoping that through this video that I'm going to get some response, and I'm going to get some science added, that you guys have done this research, because what are we if not researchers? Rh negative people don't look at things on the surface. We always go deep. But I did find along the way this talk from just give me a second, Dr. Matt Herbert. It's really fascinating. He's talking about the health effects that happened prior to the RhoGAM shot. So let's give it a listen to this.
If we were all Rh positive, the gene would be of no consequence. We'd get along fine. If we were all Rh negative, the gene there'd be no problem. We'd get along fine. You get in trouble, though, when you start mixing the genes. Just this one gene. mostly you talk about inbreeding, and you don't want to crowd genes together. That's very rare for the find hidden genes that way. It does happen, but the Rh positive, the Rh negative gene is extremely common. And if you mix Rh positive with negative, you can get a situation where the mother, her body identifies the fetus as an invader, as an outsider, and tries to destroy it.
I have heard that. So is that if a mother is Rh positive and the fetus is Rh negative?
It's the other way around, but
The other way around.
It's the difference that's the problem. The positive means it does have the Rh thing attached to the surface of the red cells. They found it injecting rhesus monkey blood into rabbits, and found the rabbits could be made allergic to the rhesus monkey blood, and that was the Rh factor. And some humans have it and some don't. Apparently,
Right.
all rhesus monkeys have it, and no rabbits, or something like that. Anyway, it's the positive father and negative mother combination that gets into trouble.
Gotcha.
Takes a while to mount an immune response. Generally, the first fetus is fine, it's a nice, healthy baby. But the second one and later ones, there is a very high risk, almost inevitable, that they will be, if they continue to be Rh positive babies, the mother will damage them.
Wow.
And the damage, for some reason known only to, certainly not to me, the antibody that the mother makes to attack this foreign substance can get through the circulation into the fetus. There's something called the placenta that sticks to the wall of the uterus and exchanges material with mother circulation. And the antibody against the Rh factor can cross the placenta. Else there really wouldn't be a problem. But cross it does. And when it gets in there, it starts breaking down those red cells, the fetal red cells, thinking, not thinking, but responding as if it was infection or something.
Right.
So we're breaking down the fetal red cells. That releases hemoglobin into the fetal circulation, which doesn't do any harm right away because the hemoglobin can cross the placenta just fine. And so the hemoglobin is pulled out of the fetus and detoxified by the mother's liver without the slightest difficulty. I mean, she has the metabolic reserve to mop up all that damage. And so the fetus, if it's not too bad, during fetal life, will be all right. But after he's born and no longer has mother's liver to fight for him, it's up to his own liver, which isn't that effective. And meanwhile, those antibodies are still destroying his red cells, and that dumps free hemoglobin into his system, and that gets into the brain, and that damages the brain frequently. Now I'm saying as if it happens now. Modern medicine's got this under control. The one thing that I treasure about civilization is they can treat that and they can prevent it, and it goes away because it's so awful. I will go back to hitting mammoths with a stick any old day, no problem. Wouldn't mind that at all. But I wouldn't want to live in a world with Rh problems and no modern medicine, because it gets a lot worse. Okay, the fetus just has his brain damaged. Within living memory, before modern medicine got its teeth properly into it, that was so common that most of the people who were permanently in the institutions in the country were there because their brains had been damaged by Rh incompatibility. Extremely common.
No kidding. Most of the people in
institutions,
mental institutions, were there because of trouble with Rh negative incompatibility.
Well, I never heard that before. That's really interesting, isn't it? But I'm not that young anymore, so I remember back that we used to have mental institutions used to be full of babies or young children that had disorders like severe water on the brain enlarged skulls, just very deformed or mentally handicapped, which you don't see that anymore. So I really, it does make sense what he's saying, that prior to that, most of the institutions were full of people that were Rh positive, born to an Rh negative mom. But let's listen to some more of that.
So most of the people in institutions that, and within memory, at any rate, were there due to problems with the Rh gene. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, mixing genes. Everyone tells you, oh, you don't want to have inbreeding because there's this awful prejudice against inbreeding we may get to. But the incompatibility itself is caused by mixing genes. Just those specific genes, not a general principle necessarily. But those genes, yeah, you get positives and negatives together, and you get, well, my old civics teacher in high school says, up in the hills, go to a cemetery, and here's this guy's tombstone, and there's his first wife's tombstone, and a half a dozen little baby tombstones, and the second wife's tombstone, a half a dozen baby little tombstones, and a third wife's tombstone, and a couple of 3 baby tombstones. I mean, it wasn't just once. This happened frequently. Rh positive man keeps marrying Rh negative women, and the thing is that, of course, obviously at the extreme, it will kill the fetus. You do too much damage to the brain. But worse than that, really, because the mother's still taking care of the hemoglobin. The fetus becomes anemic. He does not have enough red cells. He goes into heart failure, and just like an adult, they used to call it dropsy, means hydrops. People's legs used to swell up. Medicine's pretty good at giving diuretics and empty out the extra fluid in the tissues. But in the old days, when you went into heart failure, which of course was very common, heart disease always been a big problem. Then you swell up. Okay, fine, you swell up, but it's not good. The lungs fill up with water. Well, the fetus doesn't have any problems lungs filling up with water, but when he gets to edematous, when his tissues are swollen, it's hard for the mother to deliver him. And it's right? Okay, so he's swollen, so he doesn't come out. Guess what? It's the 1800s. You don't have modern medicine. You can't safely operate, or maybe it's the 1700s, and you can't operate at all. And now it's stuck, and now you lose the mother. And that is the dark side to the whole thing. I mean, losing babies is real bad, but boy, when you lose the mother who's already got a healthy baby, and she's otherwise perfectly healthy, all she ever had to do was divorce that husband, marry an Rh negative man, and it all goes away. She's completely fine.
I'd like to say I found the answer to my quest, but I don't think I've completely found it. But there certainly is enough information to be suspicious to say that there's a possibility that maybe we shouldn't be mixing these 2 blood types, that we are creating people that are going to suffer throughout their whole lives with autoimmune diseases and maybe possibly brain damage. I don't know what you guys think. Please, if you have more information, put it inside the comment box. Like and share. And please share this. And the reason why I want you to share this is because I think that we need to add information to this. And if I get enough information, I will make another video to put this all together so that we can really be informed about our decision. We are in the enlightened time. We're in a time when we actually can look and we can compile information like we've never been able to before. And this can really protect us and protect our future children. Well, I'll leave you there. Live in love and light, and have a great day.